Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode 419, the one where we tell some dirty jokes right up until the time we go live. Sadly, we can't share those, but maybe we can do it at Popu Live next year. Anyways, really happy to be here. We're gonna jump into it. We got a handful of questions. We know everyone's probably out traveling, wrapping things up, getting ready for Thanksgiving if you're in the US tomorrow, or if you celebrate that wherever you might be. It's kind of a short holiday week, but we are here and we are going to answer the questions we've got. So if you've got some more, go ahead and pop them on the page. Real quick, I want to say if you are watching this on YouTube and you're catching the intro, you can always join us at semanticmastery.com/HDHO. And we always tell people in the live video feed to go there to ask questions, to make sure if we need follow-up or anything like that. That's where we monitor the questions. Want to make sure that we can answer your questions and all that sort of good stuff. The second thing I would do is click subscribe, stay up to date. That way you also get notified of Hump Day Hangouts. And if you ask questions, we also parse those out, package them up into short clips, and you'll get notified when those are available. So with that said, we've got some more announcements, but I want to say hi to the guys real quick. So Chris, how you doing today?
Good. Somebody said bulking season.
What's that?
Yeah, like I cannot complain about any food shortages or anything. Like I definitely have like the whole fridge full, and in good old Thanksgiving tradition, like plenty of everything. Other than that, yeah, I think they're pretty good. It snowed a couple days ago. Had a pretty sweet weekend out as well. So life is good, and yeah, like lots of work as well getting done here.
Nice.
Lots of cool things in the works. Can't spill all the beans, but I'm excited.
Yeah, we got Black Friday is coming up. Of course, if I don't know how somebody wouldn't know that Black Friday is right around the corner, but we've got a special deal coming out. So pay attention. If you haven't yet hopped on an email list, just go to semanticmastery.com. If you're at Hump Day Hangouts, you can scroll down to the bottom of the form, but make sure you get onto emails or you join the Facebook group. That way you'll be notified when that goes live bright and early Friday morning. Don't want to miss out on that. So Bradley, how about you? How are you doing today? You look like you got a little something special.
Yeah, man. I had to wear my turkey hat for today's Thanksgiving Hump Day Hangout. And I can't wear it throughout while I'm answering questions because I can't even take myself seriously with this fucking hat on. But it's funny, man. I've had this since my daughter was a child. She's 17 now, so it's a tradition, a Thanksgiving tradition that that I always come wearing this stupid hat, and I'm the goofy uncle of the family. You know what I mean? So all my nieces and nephews, they all laugh, and so I always got to wear this and make a fool out of myself in front of the family. So I figured I'd do it for my online family as well.
There we go.
So happy Thanksgiving to everybody and that celebrates it. And if you don't, well, happy Thursday then.
Yes, until your Thursday. Well, I was going to say too, speaking of community family, we had a community webinar on Monday. So you were chatting with Damon Nelson. You want to tell people a little bit about that? I popped the link on the page, on the Hump Day Hangouts page, but you want to tell people about that if they didn't get a chance to watch?
Yeah, I did a webinar with Damon Nelson about booster pages. I've been using it since, well, I bought it, I think, at the end of last year, but I bought it before it was even available to use. I know you guys can't take me seriously while I'm trying to, I'll go ahead and take it off. It's funny, but
just be careful that you don't overheat.
Yeah. So anyway, I knew that Damon puts out quality stuff. And so he had reached out to his list and was at around this time last year actually, and said that he was going to be, he basically explained what booster pages was and what their plan was for it. And I was like, I knew I was going to, or at least I had an idea that I was going to be starting a link building business. And so I thought, yeah, I'll go ahead and pick it up. So I bought it way back then, and then probably, and he even said like, it's not going to be ready until like a couple of months. It won't be ready. You won't even have access to it. So I just bought it on faith because I know Damon puts out good products. And so, and then right when they were about a couple of weeks out from actually allowing people to access the tool, he did another round of emails and said, we're going to do another lifetime offer. It's more expensive than the previous offer, but we're about to launch this for beta access to, if you guys, anyway, long story short, I bought a second agency account or enterprise account, whatever you call it. And I've been using it since I got access to it, which I think was in January of this year. It might have been February, but anyways, about 10 or 11 months I've been using it. And I had not really talked much about it for anybody in our audience, specifically because I was waiting for it to reach a certain threshold and then once it reached that threshold, then I would promote it. Well, it reached that threshold in October, which is, I started seeing the backlinks that the Booster Pages network, essentially, it's an automated way to build backlinks. They're topically relevant in that they're not contextual links like what you would think of like in a contextual link is, right? Which would be within the content body of an article, surrounded by, relevant content and all of that. But they're contextual in that they're links that are grouped in alongside other links that are in the same topical categories. So it's like a co-citation type of a link, if that makes sense. It's guilty by association, right? So in other words, the links are co-mingling with other links in the same topical categories. So that's what I like about it, is that there's a topical relevance component to it, and it's 100% automated. It's like the only way that I've ever submitted any links to Booster Pages is via RSS feed, which means you submit the RSS feed and that's it. It's hands-free. Every time you publish content to that site, it automatically gets these additional links to it. So the way that I use it, and I described it in the webinar, so I'm not going to rehash that here other than to very quickly just mention, I do not use it as a tier 1 link source. Damon promotes it as a tier 1 link source. That is not how I use it. I will not instruct you guys or recommend to you guys that you use a tool any other way than what I would use it for my own business. So not that it's harmful or anything to your money site, but I would not use it as a tier 1 link source. I'm just being clear about that. Again, it's not that I think it's going to be harmful or anything else, but I only use topically relevant links that have measurable value to link directly to the money site. But where I think this system, Booster Pages, shines is that it can automate tier 2 and tier 3 backlinks, because it builds tiered links automatically. And so if you take your tier 1 assets that have RSS feeds, like your branded syndication network properties, your Press Advantage organization page, or whatever press release service you're using, if you have an organization page or a media room, they generally are going to have RSS feeds. You can take blog sites that you're building for like blog network sites for like your own kind of PBNs. If you have PBN sites, you can take, as long as they're niche or topically relevant, meaning I guess you could take category feeds and submit them that way. But the point is, you always want to make sure that you're submitting the links into the appropriate categories, because Damon and his team do have moderators that if they see a bunch of spammy links or non-relevant links coming into their network, they're going to pull those links down. And they'll kick you out of the system. They might give you a warning first, but they'll kick you out of the system. So the point is, they want to keep their network relevant and non-spammy as much as possible. So they do have kind of a terms of use or acceptable use policy. And I would encourage you guys to make sure you abide by it, or else you ruin it for everybody. Not only it'll hurt yourself, but it'll also ruin it for everybody else. But the point that I'm trying to make is it's a great service for automated tier 2 and tier 3 backlinks. The reason I hadn't promoted it before was because I was waiting till the links got strong enough. The sites that these links are published on got strong enough for Majestic to start showing them in the fresh index. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Majestic has what they call a fresh index and a historic index. And I say Majestic, that's the backlink analysis tool that I use. Fresh index only shows links that are providing measurable value and that are new, because links that are insignificant, that provide no measurable value, there's no reason to analyze those backlinks like all the other tools do, which is just a bunch of noise. Majestic filters that noise out, and they only show links that have not atrophied or decayed entirely, which means they're somewhat fresh. That's part of the reason they call it the fresh index. So once I started seeing these Booster Pages links popping into the fresh index for my tier, for my as tier 2 and tier 3 type links, that's when I said, okay, now it's reached a point where I want to promote this, because I was waiting for that, for the data, you know what I mean? So anyway, if you watch the webinar, Damon and Wayne, Wayne Atkinson, his developer, they've got a lot of really big plans for this, for further development, that I feel by, the end of the first quarter, maybe to that first, the first half of next year in 2023, it's going to be significantly more powerful. So I would encourage you guys to get it right now on Black Friday. Plus, he's got the special offer to Semantic Mastery audience with a lifetime offer plus a 20% off discount for Black Friday on top of the lifetime offer. So right now is an awesome time, guys, to pick up a lifetime offer. I would encourage you to get the agency plan if you're doing any sort of volume for clients. Because it's like, I think it's like $540 or something like that with the 20% off discount. One-time fee, and you get 3,000 automated backlinks per month for life. So I would encourage you to pick it up. It's a really good service. I've been using it myself for about 10 or 11 months now. And I got 2 agency accounts because I knew that it would be something that I would use a lot. So there you go.
That's awesome. Yeah, because otherwise it's an annual plan, I believe, right? So
yeah,
you can get that for a single pay. That's pretty awesome.
A couple $100 more, you get a lifetime plan. It's totally worth it.
Very nice. Cool. Well, I already mentioned Black Friday coming up. This is kind of a cool one by somebody we like what they're doing, but also just wanted to mention the mastermind. We talk a lot about what's going on there, the webinars, the training, obviously, access not only to ourselves, to Bradley, myself, Chris, but also to the other members. But it's something to think about moving forward. We talk a lot about planning and processes and how important it is, who you spend your time around, where you get your information from. And that's a big part of the mastermind, and we really hope that, you consider it. Moving into 2023, there's a lot going on right now, whether, again, you're in the US and you got Thanksgiving coming up, you got the holidays coming, but we do see an influx of people right at the end of the year and the beginning of the year usually. And so if you're thinking about it, put some time and consideration into it. I'm not telling you to join today, enjoy the holidays, do what you need to do, but really consider it. And then, put together a plan of what you want to get out and come join us. If you're not familiar, you need more details about the mastermind, how it works, how many webinars, blah, 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 all that, all the good details, just head over to mastermind.semanticmastery.com. We've updated it recently with a little bit more information, so you can find out everything there. And I would just include that as part of, hopefully you're doing some sort of a yearly review, something like that, and thinking about what you want to do in 2023. And I think the mastermind could definitely be a good part of that for you moving forward. If you're an agency owner, consultant, you work with local SEO clients, it's probably the place for you to be. Cool. Chris?
All good.
All right. Guys, anything else? Did I miss anything?
No, I think we're good. All
right, let's get into the questions. I'm just going to scroll up here. I think I see a little different. Looks like Frederick, Guy 8292. Oh, interesting. He's asking about, kind of directory type stuff with top SEOs and clutch. Interesting.
Oh, I think we missed one above him, Cautious Human.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it looks like he asked it right after. Sorry about that.
No worries. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna grab the screen. Okay. Right on. Here we go. So the first one was, hey guys, I saw your show today and found the part about VAs really helpful. I run a software business in exact same scenario as person who asked the question. Would you recommend the same approach to managing developers where lots of incremental changes and fixes are needed to maintain software projects? That's a really good question. And honestly, I'm sorry, I can't answer that because maybe Adam or Chris could talk about that. And guys, just to refresh your memory, he's talking about the question last week about VAs. And I was talking about how I pay my VA team, which is on a per task basis. So I only have a couple hourly employees, but almost everybody else is paid on a per task basis because it gives them incentive to become more efficient. The more productive they are, the more efficient they are, the more money they make. And they have, it's crazy, but our writing staff makes as much money as people with advanced degrees in the Philippines. That's no kidding. Using just AI writing tools, and just because the amount of volume that they can produce, they make money per article produced. So they make really good money. As far as software development stuff, it's not something that I've ever really managed or done as software development. So I don't really know that would apply to that. Perhaps the two of you might have more experience.
Yeah, I'll defer to Chris on this one. I've got a little bit.
Well,
I think he's got.
It depends. Like in software, usually you have like the milestones where you can do something like that. So for every achieved milestone, you can do a payment is one option, but it depends on the complexity of the product, right? So if you're like working like for months, like, I don't know, like for a complete app, for example, or like a complete software as a service product or something like that, and I'm not sure that's the best method. So what I usually add like the monthly one still, and literally just use a project management kind of process, if you want to call it that way, and like keep them accountable that way. So like there's Scrum and there's like many other ones, like it depends what you're coding, like what you're doing exactly. So that's usually how I used to handle those things.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me, I would just say, geez, excuse me. I think I would say, just take a look at, the situation, maybe your developers are in. And by that, I just mean, where are they living? What is the workload? Are you their only source of income? Are you a side project? What's going on there? Because basically, right, you're paying them for their attention, for their work. And, I would think most developers probably in a little bit higher demand than, say, a VA at a low level position. So there may be some things where that's why traditionally you don't see developers working on piecemeal projects. I mean, they may take on a project, but they're not being paid $50, $20, things like that. You want their attention on it, because when something breaks, you don't want them to have to come up to speed again. You want them to be invested in the project and just to be able to get in there and do it right away. But what do you think, Chris, about that?
The best developers are usually working on open source software on the side, or working on their own projects and stuff as well on the side. So like they're always like coding on something.
Yeah.
So it's different to the average VA. So like depends, like if your project is, or like your deal with them is like that you're their kind of like home income, or like I don't know how to call it, like their primary income. So that allows them to work on these other projects that they do for fun and for like pleasure, or if it's like some other thing, right? So like I've been like as well, like myself, like a coder and stuff, and I've been thinking exactly the same way, because I always had like my other projects going on, and this was just like my day job at that time. Was like, yeah, that feeds me, so I can work and code on those projects over there. And yeah, eventually I transitioned out, like, and no longer coding basically. But
Yeah.
It's pretty much exactly that what I said.
Yeah,
and
I think it's just one of those like,
if I got paid on a milestone base, or like on a monthly base or something like that, I didn't mind.
Yeah, I think it's more of a, give it a try, but talk to your developers. I wouldn't just implement this, or you could put yourself in a world of hurt. So just give it, find out what works, and maybe it's a good fit, maybe not. So
yeah, I've actually got I'm having something developed to automate link analysis reports, and I just got Jeremy from Press Advantage. He's helping me out, and I'm going to be going through the process of hiring developers and having them develop software, but I have not gone through it yet. So come back in 6 months and I could probably give you a pretty good answer.
The other thing that I wanted to say, like, again, it depends on what project you are in. So if you actually can paint the vision, and like you actually are the passion project for that programmer, chances are high that the coder will almost work for free. Like it's crazy. As long as he's like super passionate about it, and you're like, you could sell him the vision. I mean, like I wouldn't go the route to like pay him free. I would still let him work for free. I would still pay him properly. But just saying, like, that's how they're thinking, right? It's like, if they can fulfill like that dream, and like are super passionate and like want this, again, like it's the passion, and they would almost do it for free.
Right on. Thanks, guys. The next question was, hey guys, what are your thoughts on large rating type sites like topseos.com and clutch.co? Do you think it's a good business model? I'm wondering if it's possible to pull off something similar in my city with SM methods. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a believer of directory sites. I have one that is, I've been talking about it for 2 years, and it works great. I've got a niche specific directory, right? So mine's a tree service contractor directory, and it works fantastic for generating leads for my agency. I built it initially as an outbound prospecting method, where I used the directory as a foot in the door, free listings on the directory as a conversation starter with my ideal client or prospect, right? Which are tree service contractors. So, but after about almost a year of doing that, and in some basic SEO stuff, I really didn't spend a lot of time or energy on, SEOing the directory. But it ended up ranking #1 for tree service directory, and it has been now almost this entire year. So I don't even use it for outbound prospecting anymore, because I get at a minimum of 2 inbound leads per week from tree service contractors that have found my directory and submitted their information. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because the directory plugin and theme that I use, which I teach how to build the directories and all the automations and the outreach process that I use and everything else that would absolutely apply for a local business directory. You could still use all the same methods that I teach for building the directory and using that to initiate conversations with, in your case, would be just business owners in your local city. I don't recommend that. I would encourage you to consider a niche specific directory like clutch.co is an SEO agency directory, right? Or a marketing agency directory, but I know it as an SEO agency directory. So that's a niche specific directory, which allows them to expand to any city in the United States or even beyond, because their target, the businesses that they want listed on the directory are SEO agencies or marketing agencies. So it makes the scalability much easier because all of your messaging and everything is all, and all of your marketing, everything can all be around that one specific industry. And that's what I do. That's what I recommend. It becomes so much easier to scale. But you could do it on a city level. Okay. You totally could do that and be a general business directory for your specific city. The only issue with that is, and it may not be an issue for you, but for me, it's a lot harder to scale because I use my directory as a way to upsell the directory, the businesses listed on the directory into my digital marketing services, right? And so I want all of the businesses on my directory to be in the tree service industry because I already have all that down pat, right? Like I know what works in that industry. I know all the keywords. Like I've done all the keyword research for years. I know what converts. I know what kind of copy converts. I know how to speak to business owners in the tree service industry. So I know that industry well. So it makes it so much easier to scale because anytime I get a new tree service contractor into the directory, then I can pitch them on my SEO services or whatever marketing services I'm trying to sell them on. And I already have all that down pat. Like I've got it down to a science. So it's just so much easier to scale. If you're doing a local business, general business directory in your local city, every time you get a different business in from a different industry, you got to go through that whole process again of learning the vocabulary of that industry, learning which keywords are important, learning what type of copy converts their customers, right? First, you have to learn the vocabulary to speak to the business owner. Then if you're going to sell them SEO or marketing services, you have to learn the vocabulary or what's important to their consumers, the consumers of their products and services. So you have to learn two sets of vocabulary for every industry, if that makes sense. You have to split test ads and creatives and determine what converts and that kind of stuff. So my point is you could do it on a city level. I feel like your work is going to be exponentially more than if you did it on a niche or industry level, if that makes sense. All of that, though, to go back to saying that the training that I provide for how to build a directory and do all the automations and the outreach and everything is all in the mastermind already. I have a whole sequence of standard operating procedures. There's 8 of them currently, SOPs, 8 full SOPs. Like it took me 2 years to develop the system, and it took me like 4 months to build the SOPs that I made available in the mastermind. So, but the directory theme and plugin that we use, and we have a link for this, Adam, if you want to grab it from SM Shortling, it's called WP Geo Directory, or Geo Directory is just for short. That has, like, I have not enabled the review or rating feature. There is definitely a rating feature in there. So you could have like, for example, my tree service directory, it could be, I could have ratings and reviews for contractors on there. So if you do it on a local business, a general business directory for your local city, then you could have ratings and reviews on there as well. And in fact, one of our members of our mastermind who's also building the directory, we have kind of a spin-off group in our mastermind. It's like a mini mastermind of people that are building the directory, because there's, I don't know, about a dozen people or so in our mastermind that are doing that method now because it works. And by the way, our members that are far enough along to where they're actually using their directory for outreach are having success. They're having similar success to what I had, which is precisely why I spent months developing the training to share with you guys, so that other people could duplicate that, right, or replicate it. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is, one of the members that is doing that, he has an HVAC directory. He was talking about selling that, like as part of part of like monetizing the directory. I use it purely to start a conversation with my ideal prospect, but you could actually monetize the directory too, right? You could sell premium listings, reviews, review collection and building reputation services, for example. You could sell traffic, you could sell advertising space, you could sell, you could produce leads with your directory and then sell the leads. I mean, there's just a lot of things that you can do. So I'm a true believer in the directory method for as an SEO or as an agency. The directory is just an outstanding way to land your ideal client, right? Whether that's at a city level with any business or at a industry level, which is what I prefer because it makes scaling easier. So that's my take on that. It was a good question. Hey guys, I went through some of your competitor link through some competitor link profiles and found a prominent site in my niche that used what appears to be cheap tier 2 PBN links behind URL shortener links like is.gd and bit.ly, etc., which lead to various money pages. Is this safe? Do we get any authority or protection behind these huge sites, or is it toxic to the money site? I mean, unless the links behind the shortener are relevant, I wouldn't use them. I know for a fact that link shorteners, you can siphon some link equity, some power from link shorteners. We had proved that with MGYB back when we were part of that. They still use the MGYB link shortener, and that's strong. It's crazy, but link shorteners can actually, the shortened URL can actually rank sometimes over top the actual, the originating URL, which goes through the redirect. Like it's really interesting, but if you can build enough power into a redirect, a link shortener, essentially, that it becomes powerful, but it's not relevant. That's the problem. There's authority, there's like pure raw link power that can be built to those, but there's not. I mean, it depends on how you do it, but those big kind of link shortener sites like that, they're going to have, it's not really going to be relevant, is what I'm saying. What I have done, okay, I'm trying to get to a point here. As I've created my own link shorteners using the Pretty Links Pro plugin on a WordPress site. So like, for example, for semantic mastery, we have smshort.link. smshort.link is a domain that we purchased as a link shortener for semantic mastery stuff. And we have WordPress on that domain, and we have Pretty Links Pro installed. And so all of our affiliate links, the vast majority of them for the last year and a half or so, we've been using smshort.link for all of our affiliates and redirects and stuff like that, just to make it easier to remember links. A lot of the times we use smshort.link. I've got for my Tree Care HQ, which is my tree service SEO agency, I have tchq.link. So treecarehq.link. So it's tchq.link. That's my link shortener that I use for all my tree service stuff, for all my clients and everything else. And yeah, there's power in that because I like to use the tchq.link, my own link shortener to create redirects to my client's assets so that I build links to my redirect URL. So therefore, if the client decides that they don't, need me anymore, then, maybe I can it depends, but maybe I'll redirect those tchq.link short links redirects to another asset or to a directory page on my site in that same city, right? Because if it's a keyword anchor like tree service plus city, then that would be applicable. If it's a branded anchor, then it's not going to matter. It wouldn't make sense to redirect that to a competitor or something else. But if it's a keyword anchor link that's pointing to the redirect URL, then I can change the target, the destination out, right? So I'm not saying that I do that all the time, but it gives me options, correct? You know what I'm saying? So there is a lot of, I've been using my own link shorteners for the last probably 2 or 3 years. For again, the one that I use mainly for tree service stuff, tchq.link, it's developed quite a bit of its own kind of authority. It provides options, like I said, because I can build links to client assets through my redirect, which powers up my redirect domain, as well as gives me the options to redirect the destination or target URLs to elsewhere, somewhere else, if the client decides that they, don't need me anymore after I've ranked them. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of benefits to it. I do never recommend just using a link shortener and then throwing spam behind that. I don't recommend using spammy links that are non-topically relevant at all anyway, period, at all anymore. So, I mean, full stop. I just don't see the point in it anymore. You can still get some results from just brute force mass links that have no relevance, but it takes so many of them. It's just, in my opinion, it's not worth it. You're better off spending money on links that are going to last, that are providing true value, true topical relevance, etc. So, but there is a lot of stuff you can do with the shortener. Next question. Hey guys, I found a URL shortener service that displays ads and a countdown timer. That was very interesting. We had two URL shorteners questions back to back. That's odd. I thought it would be the same person. Anyways, I found a URL shortener service that displays ads and a countdown timer on links so you can earn some ad revenue. Thinking of signing up and running all of my blog post URLs there. What's a real legit social signals traffic service I could use to actually send traffic through these short links back to my money site so I can earn from the ad revenue? Would Yive Ranker work for this purpose, or is that more for SEO? I don't know. Yive, yeah, I think Yive Ranker is the backlink builder, the automated backlink. Yeah, that's the one I've talked about before. I don't use that anymore. I'd rather use, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what it is. That's just an automated backlinking tool. I don't use that anymore just because it's just Web 2.0 spam links. I mean, there can be a place for that where that can be useful, but as I mentioned before, I don't build any kind of links that aren't topically relevant anymore, which is why I like booster pages. I'm not saying anything about Yive Ranker because the guys over there with all the Yive tools, they're a good group, sharp group, but the Yive Ranker stuff is just pure bulk spam links, and I just don't use those anymore. So, and I have Yive Ranker, I just don't use it anymore. Like I said, I prefer something like booster pages, which is grouped by topical categories. So it's a lot more relevant, and it's still automated. But Yive Ranker doesn't send traffic. But I know that they have Yive stacker views or something like that, but I think that's video related. I don't know if they'll send traffic to just any type of URL. I think it's YouTube traffic that they send. But there's other types of, you want to send real traffic, not bot traffic though. Like that's the key. And so I don't know where you would find that, like how you would do that. I've talked about this before though. You might want to try this. This is something that it's called Triber. Content marketing suite for influencers and bloggers. So here's something that you might want to try for that, especially since you said it's for a blog, is check this out, because you can, this is real people. These aren't bots. So this is real people. So you join, you create tribes, which are people that have interest or an affinity around certain topics. And so you can join a tribe or create a tribe, and then you share content that's relevant to that topical category, that's relevant to that audience, to that tribe. And it encouraged, other people and influencers and bloggers, etc., that are in that same topical category or whatever, interested in the same stuff, will like and share your content if you do it back for them, right? So you scratch my back, I scratch yours, that type of a thing. So but this is real people. So this is much better than like trying to send bot traffic and stuff like that, for what it is that you're attempting to do. So I don't know what the pricing is for any of this. They might make you get on a stupid sales call to get the pricing. I don't know. There it is. I'm just curious. I've thought about testing with this. I've not tested with it, but I probably should. But they have like different plans and all that kind of stuff, and it could be valuable. So if you're blogging, could be valuable. And I wonder if they have a Black Friday deal. I might want to pick it up just to test with it. Anyway, there you go. Try that. Next question. Hey, Bradley and the crew, how would you approach running a quality SEO press release campaign for a strategic best of type affiliate article? Thinking of going with URL anchor, but not sure if I can include keywords as well, or would you go with generic plus brand name? That's a good question. I don't like URL anchors. I like anchor text should be descriptive of what it is linking to. I'm not kidding. That's my opinion on anchor text. I don't like to use URL anchors. I don't like to build generic anchors, or miscellaneous anchors is another term for that. I don't like to build them. Natural link profiles, you're going to accrue generic or miscellaneous anchors naturally, right? So for example, I know you're talking about affiliate, but for local stuff, if you're building citations, almost every citation is going to be a miscellaneous or generic anchor. It's going to say website. right? Or something like that. So that's, you're naturally going to accrue miscellaneous or generic anchors. Other people that link to you don't really have control over that. And so other people will link with URL anchors and things like that. But whenever I'm intentionally building links, I want to use anchor text, either keywords or keyword plus location modifier or brand name, right? A brand anchor, or what I call a compound anchor, which would be brand plus keyword or brand plus location, etc. So that's, I'm going to recommend that you use some sort of descriptive anchor, and that could just be the brand name or brand name plus the topical category, like the best of whatever, like, so brand name, best of topic, you know what I mean? So that way it's a kind of a hybrid or a compound anchor that's a brand name plus the keyword, and that de-optimizes the keyword a little bit because it's got the brand name in it. Does that make sense? So I don't know if I'm making sense or not, but as far as press releases, I mean, like I said, I would go with I would probably do some sort of a brand anchor, maybe brand plus keyword of some sort, or some variation of that. That's probably what I would do. Okay. You know, I don't do a lot of affiliate stuff, so I mean, I'd have to think about it, and to be honest, whatever I would suggest would require testing for it to be valid. It's just kind of my assumptions based on what I do for local, that I can give that advice. But again, I don't know, because I don't do affiliate type stuff. So I don't know if that would be as effective as it is for local, if that makes sense. Sorry, it's just not my area of expertise, not affiliate stuff. So I look at backlinks, guys, as a branding tool, or excuse me, press releases, not as a for years, press releases was one of my favorite backlink sources. It's not the case anymore. I don't really care about press release backlinks. What I care about press releases for is a branding tool, and for the citations that it provides, the name, address, phone number, local business citations, right? Because you get that with press releases too when you're dealing with a local business. So I like press releases for branding, and I like press releases for reputation, and I like press releases for the NAP citations, basically. But I don't really use press releases for backlinks anymore. Yeah, we get a ton of backlinks from them, but they're not really relevant. There's press releases, the referring page generally has zero trust flow, which means it has no topical categories anyways, like, because it has to have a trust flow value of 1 for it to be assigned a topical trust flow category. And again, those are just proprietary metrics, but it's a pretty good indication of what the relevance is. And so, and you want to try to satisfy page level relevance and domain relevance, topical relevance at the same time. And even if you get relevance at the page level, the referring page from the press release content, it's relevant to what it's linking to, it should be. But the domain that the press release is published on is going to be multi-topics, because it's a news site, right? So by nature of it being a news site, it's going to have multiple topics on there. So it's most likely that the topical categories, the most prominent or primary topical categories of the domain itself, are not going to be related to what your target assets are. So there's a mismatch, a relevance mismatch. You might get relevance match at the page level, but it's very unlikely that you're going to get relevance match at the domain level. So that link is not nearly as valuable as it could be, right? So again, I don't use press releases as a link building tool anymore. It's for branding, citations, and reputation. They're good for reputation too. Next question. What are your thoughts on Google guaranteed ads, both as competition against your assets or offering that as a service if clients inquire about running those ads? I've had a couple of my clients inquire about it, and they make the company go through, jump through a bunch of hoops. You have to go through a verification process, a qualification process, in order to be accepted into that program. And it requires the business owner to do it. So I've had a couple of my clients ask me about that. And I've basically said, I can direct you to where you sign up, but you're going to have to go through with Google, work through whatever requirements they make you work through. I can't do that for you. In other words, it has to be you as an owner of the company or an executive of the company that handles all of that stuff. And none of my clients have taken me up, like have proceeded. None of them have actually followed through. Right. So I don't really have an opinion on it. I've not done any of that. I've tried to encourage a couple of clients to do it so that I could become familiar with it, but nobody wanted to do it. So again, sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, but it's not something I have experience with. So Next question, Eager Settler says, would it be a good idea to create a network of YouTube channels for different niches to rank client videos, kind of like a PBN, but for videos? Yeah, of course. That's great. You can absolutely do that, by the way. Thinking to offer something for smaller businesses that can't afford SEO. But one of your opinions is, I remember you guys did a heap of video stuff a while back. If so, what would be your recommended route to get going? I mean, as far as like, I think having niche relevant channels is absolutely a good strategy. You can certainly do that, and it makes sense to do so. I don't know of who teaches YouTube training stuff really to recommend. Does anybody here have any ideas?
Yeah, I was just trying to think like, I mean, I'm thinking about what we did with, what was the name of the, help me out here, what we built at SERP Space way back when.
That was Video Powerhouse.
Thank you. Yeah. So basically the idea being there was just what he's talking about, just on a bigger scale, and, you know, I believe we were also building out links to that too. It's just been so long, I can't remember the details. But some of the automation on that was difficult, but if you're not doing it at a really large scale, then yeah, you know, you could probably do this pretty easily. It'd just be one of those where you've got to get an idea of how much people can pay, how much time can you invest in it, can it be done manually, in the sense of, you know, if it's 1 or 2 videos a week, okay, that's not a big deal. But if it starts to scale, you got to build some automation in there.
Yeah. And just to be clear, Video Powerhouse, we didn't build any channels for that. What we did was we built a video embed network. Yeah. So other people would publish videos to their channels and then take the YouTube videos that they wanted to promote and submit it to Video Powerhouse. And we would push that and distribute that out across a vast network of PBN style sites, but they were video sites only. And in each one of the PBN, which were WordPress sites, like self-hosted sites, each one of those had a IFTTT syndication network around it. So every time one of the PBN sites would publish a video, and just an embed, a video embed, it would then syndicate out across 15 or so syndication network properties. So every PBN, video PBN, would end up providing like 16 backlinks, socials, bookmarks, and embeds, or embeds per PBN site. And so that's what we did for that. So that was an embed network, not a niche related channel, but you could do, that's still a viable strategy. But as we just talked about at the top of this webinar, or this Hump Day Hangout, booster pages, actually, Damon has a product called VidPenguin. VidPenguin would work really well with what it is you might attempt to do. Because if you have niche related channels or niche specific channels, that you could take the channel feeds and submit them to VidPenguin. And every time you publish a video, VidPenguin is going to do its magic, which is specifically designed for video SEO, YouTube SEO. And then also booster pages, right? You can take your channel URL and there's even a YouTube channel RSS feed finder inside of booster pages. So you can take your channel URL, plug it into booster pages. It will find the RSS feed for the channel. And then every time you publish a video, because you set the categories, the topical categories for that channel in booster pages is what I mean. I was just talking about how it's all based on topical relevance, topical categories, the way that booster pages is set up, which is why I like it so much. Okay. So now every time you publish a video between VidPenguin and booster pages, which are both Damon Nelson's products, you're going to have a lot of automated SEO signals sent to that. Embed networks are still going to help as well. That would be something else that you can build, your own embed networks. But as far as building and creating the channel and optimizing, that's what I was asking if anybody knows of any good on-page YouTube SEO courses, because I do not. I haven't done any of that in so long. That's a good question. I'd have to get back to you. I know who would know is Michael Bose. Michael Bose from Viper Tools. He would know of he would be the one that I would ask for, like, do you have a recommendation for a YouTube SEO course? So I don't have any off the top of my head. I can, if I pause the screen, we got enough time. I can look up one. I have I got one a while back that was decent. I just got to find who it is, the name of the guy first, and then I'll unpause the screen.
Ooh, I also just saw, I was checking out VidPenguin. It looks like it's on AppSumo.
Oh, yeah, it was about a year ago. It's still on AppSumo. That's great. That's great. Yeah, Vid Penguins is pretty good. I mean, I don't do a lot of YouTube SEO stuff, but I have tested with that a little bit, and I plan on doing more testing with it next year. I'm starting to do a lot more YouTube stuff now because I'm part of the channel Jumpstart. I've spent the last 5 weeks, an hour and a half every day studying YouTube stuff, but not the SEO side of things, different about how to produce better videos and stuff. Anyway, next year I plan on doing a shit ton of stuff on YouTube. So I'll probably be doing a lot more testing on YouTube SEO stuff next year. Chris Derenberger is the name. Let me see if I can find his course. I know you guys aren't seeing my screen. Just give me a minute. Derenberger. He has a YouTube training course. Yeah, anyways, if you go to YouTube and search for him, you can probably find it. This is his name. Let me just go to YouTube. I'll jump into YouTube real quick and we'll take a look. I know you aren't seeing my screen. Just a minute. Okay. Go to YouTube. And I don't know if he's got a course available now, guys, or not. This is a little bit of an older course that I had right here. YouTube Supremacy. That must be the course. Anyways, the guy's name is Chris Derenberger right there. You might want to look into that. I went through a course that his course a few months ago, and it's pretty good. I didn't learn a whole lot because a lot of this is stuff that I knew, but and again, I just, you were asking, so I'm just trying to provide some resources for video SEO stuff. So, but again, Michael Bose would be somebody good to ask in the Viper Tools group. I'm sure he would know. He stays up to date on that stuff. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. Wow, we got through all of them. Yeah.
All righty. Well, off to an early Thanksgiving start.
Yeah, well, thanks everybody for being here. For those of you that celebrated, happy Thanksgiving. Those of you that don't, like I said, happy Thursday tomorrow. And we'll see everybody next week. Thanks, guys.